Hi guys, welcome to iNetwork 365, and in this video I will show you how to configure Passbolt Server. So basically Passbolt Server is used to store all the credentials in a centralized location. So when it comes to an organization, you cannot store all the credentials just in a personal's computer. You need to have in a centralized location so that your boss or your teammates can access those credentials. So in order to do that, we'll be using the Passbolt server. So here you can see the video contents, what I will be doing in this video tutorial. So the first thing we'll be downloading and installing the CentOS 7. The next we'll download and install Passbolt server. Then the third thing we'll be configuring database for the Passbolt server. Then after that again we'll be configuring the Passbolt, and finally we'll be ending up with this video with configuring administrator account. Okay, so now I will show you how to download the CentOS operating system. So in order to do that, I will click on my web browser, and here I will type CentOS 7. So I click the first link, and here you can see there are three versions of CentOS. So I'll be selecting the version 7, and I'll be selecting X64 8664. So here you can see there are so many links, but I'll be selecting the first link. And here there is so many options you can see: minimal, live KDE and live genome, and also you can see DVD. So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to select DVD and I'm going to download this operating system. But since I already downloaded this operating system, so I'm not going to re-download it. So what I will do, I'll straight away go to the Hyper-V virtual machine. So this is my Hyper-V manager. So in this Hyper-V manager, I'm going to install my CentOS 7. So in order to do that, I'll click on new virtual machine. So I'll give my virtual machine name CentOS 7 Passbolt Server. I'll change my location. Next. So here I'm going to assign 2 GB. So this 2 GB I'm assigning for my CentOS operating system. So I click on next, and here I will be selecting my interface. So using this interface, I'll be able to connect my internet. So I'll click next. Next, and here I'm going to browse the DVD which I downloaded. So I'll select the second option here, select image file, browse. So here I'm going to select so next I click next and finish. So now I'll click on start, right click on this virtual machine and click start. Okay, so now I'll select the first option, install CentOS 7. Okay, here you can see the language settings, so I'm going to leave it as default and I click continue. And here I'm going to select I'm going to turn on my network card. So I'll click on network and I'll switch on this thing, and you can see it's connected. So I'll click on done. So next in software selection, I'm going to click software selection and I'm going to select server with GUI, and I click done. And then next I will be selecting my installation destination, that means my hard disk. So I'll select this and select my hard disk and click done. Then I'll click on begin installation. So when I click begin installation, there are two options over here. So these things I need to configure. So root password means it is like administrator password. So in Linux basically they call root as administrator. So I will type the password for this administrator account and I click done. So next, if you want to create an additional user account, you can create an account, or else you can directly log into the root account. So I'll just create a user account over here called John D. John.d. And if you want, you can make him administrator, but I'm going to leave it as default. I'll type the password and I'll click done. And also please keep in mind that this installation is not necessary if you already know how to install and configure the static IP address in CentOS. So if you are aware of this, so then you can straight away go to the configuring Passbolt server. Okay, so now the installation is completed. So now what I'll do, I'll accept the license agreement. Click done and I'll finish the configuration. Okay, you can see the user account which I created, John D. So I'll log into his account. Okay, so now I'll click on application and I'll go to system tools and I'll select terminal. So from here I'll type ifconfig. So when I type the ifconfig command, from this command I can view my IP address. So you can see my current IP address is 192.168.10.18. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to make this IP address as static IP address. So in order to do that, I will first I need to log into my root account. So in order to log into your root account, so you should type su enter and type the password of your administrator account. So now you can see I have logged into my root account over here. So you can see that it's changed to root. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to type the command vi//etc sysconfig network /scripts if cfg dash and my network adapter, enter. So here you can see by default it is DHCP. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change this one to none. So I'll click on my keyboard insert button and now I can edit the file. So I'm going to delete this and type none. So next what I'm going to do, I'm going to press enter from here and I will type IP ADDR dash and the IP address of my computer. So I just forget my IP address, so I'm going to check again. If config, okay, so it is 18. So I'm going to type 192.168.10.18. Okay, then I'll press enter and I'll type prefix, which is my subnet mask 24. So next again I'll press enter and here I will type my gateway, which is my default gateway 192.168.10.1. Then next my DNS 1 is also going to be the same thing, 192.168.10.1. okay, so this is my router's IP address. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to disable IP version 6. So in order to disable IP version 6, I will come to this part, IP version init, and I'll delete this yes and I'll type no. then I'll press escape, shift, then I'll press colon, WQ, and exclamation mark, enter. So next I will restart the settings. Okay, so now I restart my network settings. So let me check if I can browse the internet. So I'm going to open my Firefox. Okay, yes, I can browse the internet now. Okay, so successfully I can browse my internet now without any problem. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to minimize this, and from my client computer I will open CMD and type ping the IP address of my CentOS. So yes, you can see that I can pin successfully. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to download the program called Putty. So I'm going to download the program called Putty. So I'll click on this and I'll click download. Then I'll select the 64-bit because I'm using 64-bit operating system. Then I'll click on the file, click next. So since I already installed the Putty application, so it is giving me this option. Otherwise you can just click next and you can finish the installation. So after the installation, click on Windows button, type again Putty, and here you can type the IP address of the CentOS which you install. So I'm going to type 192.168.10.18. So click on yes, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to directly log into the root account, which is administrator account, and I'm going to type the password. Okay, so I'll type if config, and here you can see the IP address 192.168.10.18. Okay, so next what I'm going to do, I'm going to again my web browser, and here I'm going to type Passbolt. So it is open. So I click on installation. So here I'm going to select CentOS 7 guide. So you can see there is Ubuntu and even the other operating system, but for this tutorial I'll be selecting CentOS 7 guide. Okay. So now you can see when you come to the step number 1, configure your server. So from here you can copy this command. Okay, and paste it over here and press enter. So it's completed. So again I'm going to copy the second command. I'm going to paste here. Then the fourth command, and the last one over here. Okay, so from this part what you're going to do, you're going to configure the MariaDB database. Okay, so in order to configure that, what I'll do, I'll click on yes, number 1, and I will type the password for the MariaDB database. Okay, so now it is asking the database username, so I'm going to type Passbolt and the password for that one also, again verify. The next, the database name, so I'm going to type Passbolt DB, and here I will click number 1 yes. Now it is asking the host name, so here I'm going to type Passbolt.inetwork 365.local. So this is the a web address which I'm going to use to access my Passbolt server. So it's going to be passbolt.inetwork365.local. Enter. And here I'll select 3. So I'm not going to set up SSL now. So I'm going to select 3, none. And now it will start installing all the packages. Okay, so now the installation is completed, and you can see over here the link is generated to access your Passbolt server. So I'm going to copy this. Okay, so if you notice that if I try to paste that link in my client computer, that means my Windows 10 computer, you will see that it's not reachable. So to make it reachable, what I'm going to do in my Windows 10, or else even in your Windows 7 also, you can do the same things. So click on the Windows icon, type Notepad, right click the Notepad and open as administrator. So from here what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on File, Open. So I'm going to the local disk C, Windows, drive System32, drivers, then I'll select etc, come here and select all files and select host. So from here I'm going to type the IP address of the server 192.168.10.18 and the host name passbolt.inetwork365.local. So now if I click refresh again, you can see that I can access the web page. So now click on start wizard. So here it is doing a system check, it's a health check. So everything seems fine, that means your configuration, everything is okay. So now I click on start configuration. So now it is asking the host name. So the host name I'm going to give 127.0.0.1. So the host name means the Passbolt server itself. So to make itself identify, so I'm going to type 127.0.0.1, or else if you want you can change this one to 192.168.10.18. So I'm going to leave the default port number. So here it's asking the username. So the username is Passbolt and the password which I already am assigned. Then the database name Passbolt DB, Passbolt DB. Next. So here is asking my company name, so I'm going to type inetwork365 and my server email address. So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to type my server email address, which is inetwork365@gmail.com. Then I'll click on next. Okay, so now it is asking the sender name. Okay, so like normally this is just for testing purpose. What I'm going to do, I'm going to just type the email address which I have. But when it comes to your company, you should have a standard email address. So those email address you have to fill in this option. So I'll just show you in this tutorial how to configure that one. So I'm going to type the sender name and I'll type the sender name as admin, and the sender email address which is inetwork365@mail.com. I think in my previous one I mentioned wrong email address. So here I'm going to, paste this one and I'm going to type inetwork365, again next. Okay, so here I'm going to type again admin, my mail address inetwork365@mail.com. So here I'm going to type smtp.mail.com. Then here again I'm going to type my email address and my email address password. So here if you want, you can test your email address. So what I'm going to do, let's test it. So you can see the test email has been sent successfully. Okay, so that means your configuration is okay. So click next. So you can leave the default settings here and click next. So it is asking my admin name. So I'm going to type John D, and the email address I'm just going to leave it as inetwork365@mail.com. So I'm going to click next. Okay, so now what we have finished downloading, installing CentOS 7. Then we finish installing Passbolt, MariaDB. Even the configuration is completed. So now we are going to configure the administrator account. So first we should download the plugin, then create a new key. Then we should assign the password to log into the account. Then if you want, you can take the backup of your key as well. So I'm going to show that. So I'm going to show that how to do. So here you can see we are on this page. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tick this option, click next. Then again I'm going to leave this as default, click next. So now I'm going to enter the password for my login password. So I'm going to type again next. And here if you want, you can take the backup. So I'm going to download this backup and I'm going to store in a separate location. Okay, so if I open this text file, you can see that everything is encrypted over here. Okay, so I'm going to just leave this. So I'm going to click next, and you have to select your security token. Click next. Okay, so now you can see that my username is over here, and you cannot change this username because it's already assigned for your web browser, inetwork365@mail.com. So now I'm going to log into my account. Okay, so now you can see the interface over here. So now by default is everything is empty over here. So what you have to do, you have to click on create. So if you have any credential, example, if you have your Microsoft account credential, so you can just type your name and the link. So I'm just going to type microsoft.com and your username admin@microsoft.com and the password. Okay, so now it is saved over here. So like that, if you want to save your Windows credential, so you can save that one also. We'll say your CentOS 7, the IP address, the username of your MariaDB database. So I'm going to type MariaDB. So the username is Passbolt, and I'm going to type the password as well. So this is the MariaDB database username and password and the IP address. So I'm going to click create. Okay, so this is how you can create the account. I mean, like save your Windows credential on a centralized location. But in case if you want to create one more user account, example a user account who can view this details. So in order to do that, what I will do, I'll go and click on users. You can see over here.
Okay, so now you can see here, there is my user account which I already created, John D, inetwork365@mail.com. So here I'm going to create a new account. So I'm going to click on create, new user. and here I'm going to type a name, Mike Tan, and I'm going to give an email address for him. So this is just my demo email account. So if you want, you can make him administrator, but I'm not going to make him administrator. But if you want, you can tick this option, so he'll also become administrator for this Passbolt server. So I'm going to just leave it like that and click save. Okay. So now you can see the account is created, Mike Tan, and this is his email address. Now if I go to passwords, and if I try to share this one, you'll say that I need to share this credential to that account. So when I click share, and when I type his name over here, you will see that it won't appear. The reason is, first, after creating the account, the user must log into his account. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do, okay, so now I will click start, and I'll open a different web browser, Firefox. And also keep in mind that you can use any web browser which supports the Passbolt plugins. So here I'm going to type the domain name, http Passbolt okay. So now it's saying download the plugin, so click this. And here add to Firefox. Click on add and OK. So now I will try again to log in. Okay, so now it is saying recover your existing account, so click on this, and now I'll type the mail address test passbolt99@gmail.com, and I'll click start recovery. So now I'll go to my Gmail, okay, so you can see here I received an email. So when I click on this, and here I should click on get started. Okay, so now here we will be configuring the account. So tick on this option, click next. Then after that you can see the name Mike Tan and the mail account is already assigned here. So I will click again next. Then I can type any password which I will use to log in. And also it is advised always take a backup of this file, so that next time in case if you're trying to log into a different computer, it will ask you for this secret key. So it's always advised to take a backup. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to click download and I'll click save. Okay, so whenever I want, I will use this file. So next, click next, and here you can select any key you want, the color. So click next. Okay, so now I will log in to my account. Okay, so now you can see when I log into my account, there is nothing over here. Okay, so what I will do, from my administrator account, I'm going to share this credential I'm going to share that credential to Mike10. So what I will do, I'll go to the password, I'll tick Microsoft, share, and now if I type his name, you can see it will appear. So I will select his account. So if you want, you can give him read permission, or else he can update also, or else he also can do the same task which you are able to do. So I'll just give him read permission and I'll click save. Then I'll type my password to confirm. Okay. So now let's go to the Firefox again, to Mike10's account. And if I refresh, you will see that I can see the credentials which is shared only for Mike10. So this is how you can save your credentials. So if you want, he can even create a new credentials over here. So these things also can be done. So that's all about this video, and I hope that you guys understood on how to configure the Passbolt server. So please subscribe, share and like my video.